So I have wrestled Brian. Backstage Europe Strongest Man 2018, me and Brian Shaw got on a table.
Yes.
Left hand.
Yes.
Who won?
You.
In less than 2 months from now, we're going to have King of the Table 13, and the main event of that card is already going to be a huge matchup, which is the match of Jerry Larratt versus Levan Saginashvili. And another great match that there will be is the debut match of Brian Shaw, that he will be against Eddie Hall. And as we saw from the beginning, Eddie implies that he has already beaten Brian when they've arm wrestled backstage at Europe's Strongest Man in 2018, which by the way, is the same year that Denis pulled Devon's whole body. Anyways, Eddie implies that back then, he has beaten him. So, we'll discuss in this video if Eddie has actually nailed it. Well, first of all, as much as they've pulled back then on the left hand, we will not discuss about a matter of which hand is the strongest, but actually about the technique behind it. So, when they start, two non-pullers certainly would go straight away into the hook. And in there, we can see that Brian's position is actually pretty good. Like, his elbow is close to the body, so he could do some side pressure there, if he knew of course, to drag Eddie. But since he didn't know, he was sort of trying to curl Eddie's arm in, while Eddie has been slowly getting his shoulder behind his hand, while Brian was making no adjustments. So that led Eddie into getting in great position to just press Brian, who was also a bit opened. But Lallis, the guy in the middle, thought it was a better idea for them to not continue the pulling, since the press can be a bit dangerous for non-pullers. But overall, in terms of technique, Eddie would have won there. I mean, somebody might have said to him that if he would put his shoulder behind his hand, he would have the advantage. So, right now, Brian and Eddie are preparing for a fight on the right hand, of which we've seen before. And when they've pulled, Brian had the slight edge on him. So, with the current Brian, with more knowledge, with more table IQ, and with more practice, Eddie may have a really hard time pulling him now.
And I beat Brian Shaw. If we were talking about who's won so far, Brian, it's me.